Our next speaker is online. Khanssa is going to tell us about AI and big data in the maritime sector. So like the previous speakers, about 20 to 25 minutes, and briefly some questions. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. the Chair, and thank you to Igor and Susanna for the invitation. So today my presentation will be about the implication of AI, big data on the maritime sector, but more specifically regarding the surveillance and the control of seafarers. So as we have seen during these 2 days, the maritime industry stands at a technological crossroads with artificial intelligence and autonomous systems promising to revolutionize vessel operations. So far, Norway, and as it was mentioned before by Ivana, has been at the forefront of autonomous shipping development with the Yara Birkeland serving as a prime example. This fully electric and autonomous container ship designed to reduce emissions and transportation costs represents a significant step towards Norway's goal, autonomous shipping operations. The Norwegian Forum for Autonomous Ships of 2023 has been instrumental in driving this innovation, fostering collaboration between industry, academia, and government to overcome technical and regulatory challenges. This transformation presents both opportunities and challenges for an industry traditionally slow to adopt new technologies. The Japanese government has also set an ambitious goal to have autonomous vessels constitute half of its domestic cargo ships by 2040. This objective highlights the industry's push towards AI-driven automation. Historically, the maritime industry has relied heavily on human labor. In the 1960s, a US flag steam power cargo ship, for example, might carry out a crew of 45. Gradual automation has reduced this number, with crew sizes declining from approximately 50 in the 1950s to an average of 28 in the early 1980s. Today, AI and autonomous technology promise further reductions in operating costs, particularly significant for high labor cost flags like the US or Europeans, where crewing constitutes 68% of operating costs. AI adoption in the maritime industry faces a unique challenge embedded in Moravec paradox and Polynice paradox, which are 2 AI researchers formulated by AI researcher Hans Moravec. The Moravec paradox states that high-level reasoning requires very little computation, while low-level sensor motor skills require enormous computational resources. Polanyi's paradox states that we know more than we can tell, highlighting the importance of tacit knowledge. And for the maritime industry, this suggests the importance of on-the-job and practical training for seafarers. This suggests that AI might excel at a complex navigational calculations or logistics planning, but struggle with tasks that human crew members find intuitive, such as visual inspection of equipment or adapting to unexpected weather conditions. The potential impact of AI on maritime operations evokes scenarios often explored in science fiction. For instance, the Star Wars character Han Solo, if you recall it, illustrates the enduring importance of human skills like intuition and adaptability in complex environments, while works by Stanislaw Lem explore the implications of artificial intelligence surpassing human intelligence. So those two contrasting narratives serve as thought-provoking illustration, reminding us to consider both the ongoing relevance of human expertise and the transformative potential of AI. Therefore, AI adoption in the maritime industry represents both opportunities and challenges for a sector, as we know, all traditionally, and as I mentioned before, slow to embrace technology. In fact, it is undeniable that tracking and the surveillance have sinister connotations of seafarers and have been misused throughout its history. It is equally clear that they have the potential to be a significant step towards safety and security. And generally, in the shipping industry, the use of AI and navigation systems involves handling large amounts of data from vessel navigation and machinery system, as well as from marine fleet management systems. Managing this extensive data appropriately is crucial. The emerging field of big data analytics, including in the maritime sector, has arisen due to the challenges of human intelligence in analyzing large volumes of data. The current applications within the maritime industry encompass tracking and surveillance systems, but not only. So those surveillance systems can, of course, be used to notify the bridge in the events of individuals falling on board, track passengers during emergencies, identify illegal fishing activities, for instance, presence of pirates, distress vessels, prevent fire at their inceptions, optimize fuel consumptions, maintenance, operations, etc., but can also be used to recognize stressed and fatigued crew members. In fact, even though some of the AI applications in the shipping industry have been successful, there are still questions about its impact on the work of seafarers, especially their surveillance and control on board vessels. Researchers argue that the effects of AI on growth and employment are more complex than generally recognized by societies, and that the impact will depend on the institutional and policy environment in which this technology is used. And usually in the work sphere, the Human Resources Department conducts assessments and is responsible for employee recruitment, preparing employment contracts, and managing employee relationships. They use both digital technology and traditional methods to assess work performance and other aspects of human resources. Numerous research studies have established a connection between electronic monitoring and various elements of working conditions, spanning work performance, work hours, work patterns, employee-employers collaboration, skills enhancement, and employee welfare. It is clear that AI tools can compare workers' performance with performance pay to help businesses develop strategies for individual workers. However, these algorithms, decision-making tools, have shown a high probability of causing occupational safety and health-related issues, such as increased structural, physical, and psychological risks and stress of workers. Employees might also express worries regarding the fairness, integrity, and accuracy of their employers' decisions, particularly those pertaining to job displacement and workplace restructuring. These worries arise from the lack of access to the personal assessment data used as the basis for such decisions. Workers may experience a sense of being surveyed if they perceive that their personal data is utilized for performance assessment without adequate consideration. And to prevent this, employers need to ensure human intervention and consider ethical implications in the process of the use of emerging technologies such as AI. And all of this same goes to seafarers on board ships. Ships are constrained by limitations of the space and vulnerable to navigational hazards, which not only pose risks of accidents, but also impede mobility and foster isolation of workers. Life on board ships entails the dual challenge of effectively managing work and personal life within confined space that need carefully attention to crew size and composition. The monitoring of a vessel and its crew is intricately tied to the ship owner's obligations to unfold international conventions established by the IMO and the ILO, the International Labour Organization, including SOLAS Convention, the ISPS Code, the MLC 2006, and the Convention on Work on Fishing. Ship owners usually justify the installation of surveillance tools with reference to the requirement of monitoring safety or hygiene. Still, such tools may also restrict fundamental human rights, including the protection of the integrity and private life of our workers on board ship. Work at sea inevitably differs from land-based activities since no other industry requires its employees to continuously be present in the workplace with the specific duty of ensuring the safety of their mobile workplace, as well as the cargo and the crew on board. Therefore, workers at sea cannot be monitored the same way as workers on land, since seafaring has no clear division between professional and private life and requires different risks preventions practices, since life at sea is also intrinsically more accident prone. So monitoring devices should therefore fulfill specific requirements. The reconciliation of seafarers' professional and private lives cannot be approached like land-based workers, since the workplace is mobile and operates in a non-natural environment for human. No doubt, the use of monitoring devices meets the professional needs of both ship owners and their crew. However, the consequences of using data collected through a monitoring system can be very significant. The collected data can serve as evidence or visual proof of an incident that could lead to disciplinary action or termination of a work contract. However, depending on each ship owner's procedures and policies, the same data could also be utilized to evaluate the working conditions. And while there is currently no clear evidence of surveillance data regarding seafarers being exploited by ship owners, the streamlining of work process should strive to balance the interests of ship owners with workers' rights. Regulation related to the use of AI and big data on board ships, and more specifically regarding the surveillance and the control of seafarers, it's still at a very early stage. Within its work on mass, and this I got this information from someone from the IMO. So the IMO has been working on some guidelines that address the use of technology, including AI, in maritime operations, and those guidelines are not, as they are not really launched yet, but they should emphasize the need for responsible use of technology that's prioritize safety without compromising the dignity of privacy of crew members. And this is a result of some work that it's ongoing between the IMO and the ILO. But of course, the IMO has also different projects that they are touching up the use of AI. And I can mention here the Sustainable Maritime Transport, AI Smart, and Digital Review. Coming to the ILO from its side has done great effort in addressing the implications of AI in the workplace, focusing on worker privacy and rights, fairness and transparency, impacts on employment, skills development, and promoting inclusive workplaces. And the ILO has developed different guidelines regarding the use of AI and big data on workplaces. However, there may be a need to update and amend the MLC 2006 or develop accompanying guidelines that specifically address the implications of AI in the maritime labor practices. But I guess it might come after the launch of the mass code. So, and of course, I can mention also the European AI Act, despite the fact that it does not really focus exclusively on worker surveillance and control. However, it establishes a regulatory framework that encompasses these issues within the broader context of AI deployment, especially as it relates to high-risk applications in which organizations must conduct risk assessment to identify and mitigate potential risks associated with the AI systems. And finally, to conclude my talk, it is worth noting that to tackle the issue of the use of AI and big data on board ships, more specifically on their impacts on seafarers, it needs not only regulatory frameworks, but also ethical frameworks. So those frameworks should prioritize human rights, fairness, transparency, and accountability. And for this collaboration, of course, between governments, technology companies, social partners, researchers, and civil society is essential to ensure that these kinds of technologies are developed and deployed in a manner that respects and protects seafarers' rights on board ships. And thank you.